So you want to make beautiful samples like the one you can hear right now? Don't worry, I got you. What makes one sample feel timeless while another forgettable? And more importantly, how can you create that feeling without overcomplicating it? Today we're going to break it down. I'm going to show you a simple approach to making samples that feel effortless, using the same principles behind the most soulful, immersive records ever made. And to prove it, I'll take a sample from Coop the Truth, deconstruct it, and then build my own from the same foundation. And why listen to me? I'm B-Sticks. I've been doing this professionally for years now. And I guarantee you don't need any of this fancy equipment. It just looks really good in a cinematic shot. So stick with me and you can do this all in the box. I promise you. Let's go. Inspiration is a strange thing. It's not something you chase, it's something that finds you if you're open to it. It starts with something simple, a feeling, a spark, a basic 3-note triad, stable and familiar. But then curiosity takes over and you add some embellishments like I just did. You stretch it, add a note here, take one away there. Suddenly it's not just a chord, it's a story. And stories need movement, tension, resolution. And that's the beauty of a 251. It feels inevitable. Like a thought completing itself. Inspiration is just that, a thought completing itself. You don't force it, you follow it, and when you do, and when you do, it always leads somewhere beautiful. Here we are again in Logic, and we have stems from one of Coop's samples called Sonder, R&B at its finest. And there's so much that we can unpack from this, we can learn and apply to our own samples. I'm going to break down some melodic techniques, I'm going to break down some production techniques and some arrangement techniques. So you're getting a little bit of everything here. Don't say I don't treat you guys well. I've broken up the different groups of instruments or textures into different colors here so you can really pick them out. You know, there's so many sample makers around. What's going to make you stand out from all the other millions of samples that are out there? If you watch all the way through today, I guarantee you're going to get some ideas that can spark your own creativity, and that's what I'm trying to do here, is plant the seed so you can go and grow the tree. I wanted to look first at the melodic structure. We're going to go more into detail in this chord progression, which I kind of ripped for our sample. Just to start, Coop is in D minor. He's going from a 4 chord, which is a G minor, and he's playing a extended chord, which is like a G minor 9. Then he's heading to the 1 chord, D minor chord. He's playing the D minor 9, which is another extension. Minor 9 chords are beautiful, rich sounding chords. All that we're doing is we're taking a basic D minor triad, we're adding a minor 7th, and we're adding a minor 9th. We can rearrange the notes of that chord in a million different ways. We can spread them across the keyboard. We can use other instruments to voice these notes. But I would urge you to just play around with the basic root position. When I say root position, I just mean playing each note as they rise up the keyboard. And then Coop takes it up another level by introducing different rhythms in to how we place these chords and passing chords as well. We're going to get into passing chords, don't worry. And then it's obviously about the orchestration. That's why we're in the sample now. And by orchestration, I just mean the different sounds that he uses to play at the different points during the sample. Every great sample has great arrangement, whether that be 2 or 3 sounds that are arranged perfectly, or 25 sounds that are also arranged perfectly. And the listener should not be fighting to hear one thing over another. If you really have to put a sound in, make space for it. And by space, I don't necessarily just mean carving out EQ. I mean moving other instruments out of the way, silencing them to let that other instrument say its piece. You can see this perfectly without even me pressing play on this sample. You can see gaps here in loads of different instruments that Coop's got. Sometimes they play together to complement each other with harmonies, or they occupy different frequency ranges. Most of the time we have one instrument playing a certain role at a certain time, and that is a good rule of thumb to remember. There's very few instruments in Coop's samples that play the whole way through. We can see these ones that do play the whole way through as our main actors that are going to carry the melodic content of the sample. We've got these sine chords here, we've got the bass here. If I just solo these 2 off, love that space there. Something's going to fill this gap. We're going to see what in a bit. Beautiful rising sine chord patch. We're going to look at how we can make a rising sine patch when we look at our breakdown in a minute. Safe to say that this is putting this sample firmly in R&B land because this is a sound that has been associated with R&B for many years. You don't want to go with like a harsh sounding synth. Everything here is soft. Look, we're making it for a certain purpose. You have to remember that all the time. What purpose are you making this for? Is it for the club? Is it for the bedroom? Is it for driving? Whatever it's for, and you make decisions appropriately based on that. This is all psychological as much as it's putting notes on a screen and working in the computer and programming. I'm 99.9% sure that this is a session bass player playing this because of how it sounds and how he's playing it. It's a very busy bass line. You don't need a bass line this busy to make something fire, I promise you. What I love about a real bass player is the rhythm that they can impart that I've never quite managed to get with a synth bass. It just doesn't have that same kind of attack to it. We call them ghost notes, and they just add to the bounce. We've got these background chords that play all the way through. One lesson we can learn from Coop is that no sound is just chucked in there and thought, right, that'll do. Every sound has been thought out, including these background chords, which are going to be really low in the mix. They're adding a textural element to the sample and also a melodic element. How can you achieve something similar to this? Head for an upright piano sound, and there are some great free ones, Labs. I would add plate reverb. There are plenty of good plugins. Valhalla do a great one. Then I would reamp it. So I would play it out of the speaker into my phone, and then send the audio from my phone back into the computer because this sounds really lo-fi. And also the way that he's playing the chords here is contrasts with the sine chords where he's playing every note at the same time. He's strumming out these notes here to give us variation rhythmically. We come to some guitars. Now don't worry if you don't have guitars. You don't need guitars to make fire samples. If you do want guitars, hit me up. I'm your guy. There's plenty of great guitarists out there, and there's plenty of great guitar samples that you can even take off Splice and various places. Pitch them into the key of your song. If you're not sure about what key something is, get a sound shifter. Just keep shifting it until it sounds right to your ears. And if you can't tell if it sounds right to your ears, just keep practicing and you'll get it. And there's several guitar tracks here, including this Hofner melody. Hofner is just another type of guitar. Look at the interplay between the guitar part. There's some phaser on this guitar. I always use phaser. Again, a lot of phasers, a lot of choruses. They sound great in these textural R&B samples. The lead guitar sounds like it's got a little bit of distortion on it. Maybe some wah-wah as well. Wow. There's stock wah-wah plugins where if you sing into your microphone, wah-wah, like that, put the plugin on, put a little bit of distortion on, you can get a similar effect to that guitar with your voice. Vocals here. These vocals sound really cool because he stacked several vocals on top of each other and they're doing different rhythmic things. Again, this just shows you what a master of arrangement he is. There's one top line. You can't hear exactly what he's saying, but gibberish is pretty good. Just make up some random lyrics, sing them into your phone, send them to the computer. And then there's one which is more arpeggiated, kind of rhythmic vocal. Dum 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 dum. You can try contrasting a couple of different vocals, mix them in, blend them. Most DAWs have pitch correction, or Graylon do a free pitch correction. There's some harmonies. Coop's so good because he just drops them like twice in the whole sample. Again, not going to be boring. And these things are not perfect. You're going to hear bleed in there. Listen. Doesn't care about these imperfections because they make the sample breathe, they make it alive. There's a one-off vocal lick that comes in, and then we're down to the percussions. Coop's percussion is super textural. I think this first one is just almost just sounds like a shh, and I'm not even being funny. Record something like that into your phone and then maybe sidechain it, put some effects on it. You can do it at different pitches. Experiment. This is what make your things stand out and they make them unique. Get things from your kitchen, pots, pans, anything, a hairbrush, tap it. This is what Timbaland used to do. Coop loves to do this. Tap on a desk, record it into your phone. You don't need a fancy mic, or try and record it on your mic. Put a hiss in, sidechain your drums to the hiss, As you can see, every sound here adds more texture. Shaperbox is your friend to make sounds like this. Mess with different settings until you find something that you think sounds fire. Chop it, repeat it, make a rhythmic feature of it, and you'll have something like this. Another thing I'd suggest you can do is go on eBay, pick up a kalimba, just anything you can get your hands on. There are instruments that make a note. Also, hit me up on Instagram if you're enjoying this. B-Sticks Production, let me know what you think. Cop a free mini kit, the link is in the description. Got bass midis and a mix and cheat sheet in there. We're going to make sure that we put some textures in our sample, and look, a lot of these textures, they don't go the whole way through the sample, as we've seen Coop do before. Like, you need to keep these things varied. To recap, a couple of sounds that go all the way through. You've got some extra little ear candy guitar stuff here, some vocal stuff with a talk box in there as well, some harmonies. You've got the percussions, which we add texture to. And then you've got actual textures, which again, don't run the whole way through. You can alternate them. Some that are melodic, some that are atonal. Beautiful samples, right? That's what we're making, beautiful samples. Bear that in mind, because every move that you make, you should have that idea of making something beautiful in your head. Sometimes we forget the path that we're on and we move somewhere else, refocus, remember what you're trying to do. That's why I like to listen to maybe some inspiration first. So I'm like, yeah, I'm going to make something like this and try and, you know, really assess what sounds do I need to put into this. And I know that Coop had like 22 sounds, but look, I've just got 11 here and I achieved what I wanted to. Started with me taking a very similar progression to what Coop had. This is in A minor, so all the white keys are your friend here. And in A minor, the first chord that I went for was a D minor 9 chord, which is actually the 4 chord in A minor, and I just played that in a root position here, you can see, and I went straight to the 1 chord, the A minor chord. I played an A minor 9 chord that I had this 9th here, and I used the E as my top note to give me some like pedal tone with the first and the second chord. And I used this little passing note just to lead us in. Dee da dee. Very simple top line melody. As I said, I always love to keep things simple because that just catches the ear straight away. The next chord that I went to is some kind of B chord. It's a B altered dominant chord, which suggests that this is a 2 chord for the 1 chord. I hope I'm not going to confuse you. I am thinking of a 2-5-1, which is a very common progression in jazz and R&B, and all that means is it's just a turnaround that can help you get back to a target chord. So any chord in a scale can suddenly become what your 1 chord temporarily, and you use the 2 and the 5 of that particular chord to get back to the target chord. Here's the caveat: I didn't go to the A minor, I went back to the D minor. So I broke your expectation because you're kind of feeling like it's going to go to A, it's going to go to A. No, I went to D. The reason that works is because the D minor 9 chord shares quite a lot of common tones with the A minor chord as well, and it works. It just works. You may think, can I do that? Can I do that? Try it, and if you think it sounds good to your ear, and I have confidence, and Coop actually did something really similar, so I was like, yeah, do you know what? It works. I went through the cycle again, just the D, the A. This time at the bar 6, I did a B and then an E. So I did a 2, 5, and you guessed it, I didn't go to the 1 on bar 7. I went to the D again. And I've left myself space between all these chords for some other sounds to come in. If you leave space, you can call and response with other sounds. It's super important. And if I just show you the sound quickly, this is a pre-made preset, but I tweaked it. So this is in the QAPT bundle, some dope presets for Serum. And I know Serum 2's out now, but you know, I'm kind of still stuck on this Serum 1. We've got a pitch rising synth that sounds super R&B, and I did change the wavetable to this analog BD sine. It was on something else, I can't remember. Now envelope 2 is controlling the filter cutoff, which is giving us that opening and closing of the sound. Wow, wow, wow. Okay, and the pitch rising is coming from envelope 3 with this shape, and that is just, if we look here at the matrix, envelope 3 is affecting the coarse pitch of oscillator A. There's only one oscillator at play on this synth, so the oscillator is just the sound source or wavetable that's creating the actual sound. If I change this shape, the pitch would move in a different kind of way. You know, rubbish, but We move on to the bass. Scarby Rickenbacker, as always. You know me. So what? Palm mute is what PM stands for. And palm mute, as I said before, it's a way of playing. Got some fills here. You can see it's quite a busy bass line. I've tried to emulate that coupe. We discussed that as a live player. I just danced around with A minor here. There's a couple of notes in A minor pentatonic that you just want to use and abuse. Wow, 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 wow. And I just sing these bass lines out. They come to me. Practice, keep practicing. They'll come to you too. I use this envelope modulator filter, which is just such a cool sound. It's what's making the bass kind of go wong, 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 wong. Got the guitar now. I know I said don't need guitar. You don't need guitar, but I just thought, look, let me shove it in because that's what coupe did. So, you know, we were trying to get similar to that coupe effect, very R&B-y. I've just panned my guitars right and left and just one playing one chord here as well. Now if I just show you the guitar and the keys, kind of like accenting the chords with the guitar there. Wow. Did that there, didn't stick any processing on it, but I think it went through my pedals. Pretty straightforward there with the guitars. Didn't go half as deep as coupe did with the guitars. Tried to get the message over and I like what I had, so I left it. I sung into my phone and I sent it to the computer and I got this. Now I can't sing, so auto-tune's my friend, just put it there. Some phasing, some Valhalla Vintage. As I said, use phasers, use reverbs. If you're trying to get that very textured lo-fi sort of coupe sound, they're going to be your friends. As I said before, reamping, I'm just going to go over that quickly. So you could take this vocal now, play out your speakers. I can't do it right now because I'm using my mic, and if I did, it would feed back. But turn your speakers up, play one of your sounds out, record it back into your phone, and then send it back to the computer. So you've just got another level of texture and crapness. And little source for you here. Just took the vocal, doubled it, put sound shifter on it, pitched it up by 12 semitones. It almost sounds guitar-y, like a lead or a lead synth, but it's doing exactly the same as the vocal here. And there's a nice gap in the vocals, as we saw with coupe. Leave gaps, leave spaces. Do you hear my kalimba perk track finishing here just at bar 14 or bar 13 really? Same with the mood here that I've got, my textures. So let's listen to that kalimba perk. Got this little kalimba from eBay that I just twanged. Things like this are going to be unique to you, so I would always suggest buy some crap percussion, get that cardboard, tap it. Again, record it into your mic or into your phone. Listen to this. I'm just breathing. And tapping on my table with some brushes. Bosh, done. And then you've got some textures here. Look, Shaper Box, as I said, it's your friend. Try random presets, mute some of the modules out, let them play. That sounds so cool. Just for half the sample, and then for the second half, another preset, half and grain, which again sounds really interesting. And you could just take a fragment of what you've got from your other sounds or something from Splice or anywhere, just pitch it to the key of your sample and put one of these on it, loop it round and just see what you get. Beautiful samples. There you go.